Are you considering starting an eBay business either as a side hustle or with the hopes of taking it full time, but you don't know if it is a viable business model anymore? Well, I am here to be your ultimate guinea pig. After a 4-year hiatus, I just reopened my eBay store last week, and I am going to share all the trials and errors that I go through in my attempts to take this business from part-time to full-time. Hi, I'm Michelle. Welcome to Connect Collective. Let's go ahead and get started. So first off, I'm going to share with you what I have accomplished in this first week of reopening my eBay store. Then I am going to share some things that I've noticed, kind of a compare and contrast from the last time I was on eBay to now, and hopefully you can learn some valuable tidbits to get started on your own eBay business. So first of all, I have 42 active listings right now, and I sold 5 items. Now, these are all collectible items that I sold, so I'm pretty pleased with my results. I sold $426.76 in those 5 items. I think that's a great start. Now, here's the thing. That was like bolting out of the gate like the strong racehorse, right? But I have a lot of items to list, and I don't know that that will always be consistent as I'm getting started, but I'm going to try my hardest. Now, some goals that I have. Listen, 42 active listings is not a lot. In fact, I got my first sale of $144 with only 16 active listings in my store. Pretty darn good, but again, this was a highly desirable item. Now, I'm trying to focus on selling mostly vintage items, but I still kind of have an everything store. In other words, I am willing to sell any good quality product that I can sell for a strong profit. And that profit is what I determine. I like to make a profit of minimum $20, $20 to $25, and I would like to make $25 the norm for the profit. That excludes what I paid for the goods, the shipping cost, the fees, taxes, etc. Profit means that's what I make, that's what I put in the piggy bank after it's all said and done. Now, having gone through my first week on eBay, I am setting some goals. So that was the first weekend in September, and my goal by the end of September is to max out the number of items I can have in my basic store, which is 250 items listed at no cost. And that means that I'm not being hit with a listing fee. So I want to max that out. Also, my conversion rate on my sell-through is really pretty good. It's 3.3%, and at times it was over 5%. Again, getting started with so few items in my store, that number is going to shift quite a bit until I have all the listings that I want to have in my store, and I gain some consistency with views and people buying items from me. So although I'm really pleased with that right now, I am not saying that that's going to be my norm. I have to gain some consistency first. My click-through rate is up 0.4%. And again, that has varied between 3% and 5%. And with so few items that are highly desirable, I'm not surprised to see a higher click-through rate. Now, we'll see what the truth of it is as I increase the number of listings that I have in my store. So that's where things stand for me right now. Now, some things that I want to share with you that I have noticed, both good and frustrating, that might help you out is I still believe that eBay is a strong, viable option for having your own business, whether it's a strong side hustle to bring in some extra money or to make it full-time eventually. I have spent hours and hours over this past week pouring through listings, researching my items, comparing them to what has sold. And I have to tell you, the same mistakes that I saw people making 4 years ago, I still see them making today. I still see photos that aren't clear, or people have items in the background, or they're photographing their item on a table that has other items on it. It just doesn't look professional. Now, it could be that these people are just selling things that they have laying around their house just to get them out of the house, but they also want to make some money doing it as well. And they're really not trying to make eBay a business, and that's fine. If they are trying to become a full-time reseller, then that is not a great start. That does not create a professional image of your store. Also, I am seeing listings that are all over the place. eBay has laid out how you should create your listing with the name of the brand, the product that you're selling. If it's clothing, is it men's, women's? What size is it? What color? Then after that, are there descriptors? Is there a model number that you can add? I still see people writing poorly written listings that are not well optimized. So remember, you have to have that search engine optimization with your listings. So when it comes to photos, all you need is to have a quality product laid out in the best way you possibly can. So for example, if it's clothing, make sure that it's laid out flat, smooth out any wrinkles, iron it if you have to, make sure that the background has nothing else going on, and make sure the lighting is good. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples here. You don't need tons of equipment, any equipment outside of your cell phone, and an area with decent lighting to take a photograph. So I'm going to share 3 different pictures with you, and my subject is this vintage Brennan's menu. This is a restaurant in New Orleans. I've never been there. I found it in some stuff from a family member's estate, and it's great, great colors. So all you want to do in your photograph is make sure that the buyer sees the item clearly and then place it in an area that's well lit. So the first photograph of the Brennan's menu that I have is just in my hallway where there's a light right overhead, and I laid it down on the floor and took a picture. There was nothing else around, and at first there was a little bit of a shadow from my phone. I just tilted my phone so that you could not see the shadow of the phone in the photograph anymore. Done. The second picture is of the menu on a fuzzy rug that I have in my office. Again, nothing else around it. It's just the background and the menu. And then the third version of the photograph is in my light box. I have a small light box to take photographs of smaller items. And yes, that lights it up really well. But I think that the other pictures look just as good. And I can tell you from what I've been seeing online is 4 years ago, people were taking bad photographs. Today, people still take bad photographs. The most important parts of your listing, I think, are the title and the photographs. Those are the things, the first things that the potential buyer sees. So make sure that those look as good as you can possibly make them. And just briefly on the listing title, eBay has a layout that they say is the best way to create a listing title. And that is listing the brand, the product, if it's clothing, whether it's men's, women's, children's, the size, the color, and then other characteristics of that item. And then if there is a model number, for instance, I have this transistor radio right here, and there is a model number on the back. I'm going to go ahead and put that in my listing title because someone might search by the model. And I still see people leaving key details out. So you need to have those included in there. And again, eBay tells you exactly how to list. Now, let me tell you one thing that I have struggled with so much, and that is pricing. And I want to show you a couple of different things. Now, first of all, I do sell a lot of collectibles and vintage items, and there aren't necessarily items like mine that have sold on eBay. There might be a similar brand. For example, the 80s and 90s are very popular right now. So Gitano was very popular at the time, or Benetton was very popular, and I might be able to find that brand. And let's say that there's a Benetton wool sweater that I want to sell. I might be able to find wool sweaters that are Benetton, but maybe not the exact one that I have. So I do as much research as I possibly can and try to get a good idea of what price I think my item will sell for. And I list it, and then, I might have to adjust it along the way, play with the price a little bit to see where the buyers are. And that's another part of it. It's really hard to have inventory, and you want to sell it for the right price. You don't want to undercut yourself and sell it for too low, because then you might be broadcasting that, hey, this really isn't so valuable, or that it's poor quality. Or if you price it too high, people will think that you've lost your ever-loving mind trying to sell something for, oh, for example, I found a beaded purse that someone had listed for $2,000. I found it on another site for $250. So that kind of pricing is crazy, insane. I don't know why people would even take the time to list something like that. So sometimes pricing can be a huge question mark, especially when you go onto eBay. Maybe you've gone and you say, I've done the research on the pricing, and prices are all over the place. Even sold pricing is all over the place. I tried to pick something in the middle, maybe on the higher end of middle, depending on the item and how many are listed, if it's difficult to find, or if there are a lot of them. And again, sometimes you just have to play with the pricing until you get it right. And I want to give you a little bit of a warning. So eBay has a tool that is helpful, maybe, but I wonder if people are using it blindly. And I'm going to show you Betty Designs leggings for sale right here. And let's say that I have a pair of these to sell. And I want to take you down here to the pricing. So right here under pricing, let me see, let me go back up here a little bit. eBay will pop up hey, this normally sells for $15. And you might say, yeah, $15, that's what I am going to sell it for. But you really need to look at that item and see if that is truly the same item that you're selling. And eBay was pulling up Sweaty Betty leggings, and I was not selling Sweaty Betty leggings at all. So you need to look at that because the prices are very, very different. And you need to make sure that whatever suggestion eBay is giving you, that it is like for like. Also, if they're suggesting a price for something, what if that price that they're suggesting, the item had shipping that the buyer had to pay, but you're offering free shipping, or vice versa? So you need to research that. Don't just blindly accept it. Now, for right now, I am listing all of mine as free shipping. I always accept returns. My returns policy is laid out stating that the item, if returned, has to be returned within 30 days with the item in the same condition as indicated in the listing photos. And I also promote my items. I promote everything because that is the game on eBay. So that's where things stand with my store right now. I will give another update next week, and I'll be talking about the mindset you need to adopt if you're going to be in eBay for the long game. And that is how you become successful. So if you're just getting started on eBay, or if you're still considering it but you haven't started yet, what questions do you have so that possibly I could answer them for you? Maybe I've already encountered it in this past week. I am going to share everything with you because this is a journey for me as well. It's a total learning experience. And as I work towards trying to build a successful business, I want whatever I experience to help you out as well. I hope that you gained some benefit from this video. If you did, please give it a like and consider subscribing. Also, if you're like, Michelle, I want to start an eBay business, but I simply don't have the time. I have a whole playlist on time management. I have a few videos in there, and I will link one of the videos on the screen right over here. Click on it, and I'll see you in the next one.